Knowledge is, as we know, power. And money is also power. But what is stronger, knowledge or money? And what depends on what to a greater extent? Understanding the relationship between knowledge and money, you can use one of these resources to build a path to another. Someone has money and with its help he can gain knowledge that will help him manage his money wisely in order to protect it, save it, increase it and make it work for himself. And some people have knowledge, using which they can come to any money they want. But if you have neither one nor the other, then it is very important for you to understand what you should strive for first of all in order to become a strong person. In this article one will share with you my experience in solving this problem. There was a time when I had no money, no knowledge, no intelligence. And now, as you can see, I have all these things in a certain quantity. I'll tell you how I came to them. To begin with, let's imagine that you have no money or very little and want to improve your financial situation. What can this world of money offer you in this case? He can offer you a job so that you can earn money and various kinds of adventures to increase it. Both. Dead-end direction. No, I in no way want to say that a person should not work if he needs money. My point is that if he relies on this alone in his life, for constant work for money, working for someone, he most likely will not achieve great success in life. At least most people don't come to anything, working for their uncle all their lives for money. You may ask, what about those people who make a good career for themselves, growing from the very bottom to quite respectable positions in various kinds of companies and government agencies? And I will answer you, most of them do this not with the help of selfless work, but with the help of the knowledge that they receive in the process of work and additional training. This, in particular, happened to me. I once also worked in a company where I had a lot of free time. And I spent this time studying, gaining new knowledge. It was this knowledge that made me a better, and therefore more expensive, worker. Then I was faced with a choice: to use this knowledge to build a career in this company or to create my own business. I chose the latter, again, thanks to the knowledge that showed me the prospect of both paths in life. As a result, I do what I love, earn good money, have a lot of free time and have the opportunity to constantly gain new knowledge in order to become even more valuable. Not only that, but I can now create them to share with other people and make money from it. Do you see what turned out to be more important in my life? But let's move on. There are people who currently have some money. They have a small but stable income. Someone has savings that they can invest somewhere. Such people are constantly seduced by various adventurous transactions. They are offered to invest their little money in certain projects and are promised greater returns. Well, for example, Forex promises people good earnings. There's nothing to even say about casinos, bookmakers and various kinds of financial pyramids. These vacuum cleaners for pumping money out of naive and infantile citizens have always had a bad reputation. But people don't change over time. They were caught with the same bait and continue to be caught. So, what do all these proposals for increasing the money in common have in common? What they have in common is that they do not encourage a person to study in order to increase or earn money. They invite people to essentially rely on luck by investing their money in a particular business, without any understanding of how it works. We all know what this leads to. The question is, why do people fall for this? The answer is simple: due to their lack of necessary knowledge and sufficiently developed thinking. People don't know, don't understand and don't want to understand where money comes from in a particular place. That is, again, as you can see, a person's lack of necessary knowledge prevents him from wisely managing his money. It doesn't matter how many he has, without the right knowledge he will waste it. Let's now think about what a person who wants to improve his life, but does not know what needs to be done for this, should invest his money in. It is quite obvious that the first thing he needs is knowledge. They will help him understand how to get to what he needs. And in general, they will help him understand what he needs at all. But money won't help here. With their help, you can only pay for the services of other people who know a lot and can tell you what and how to do in order to achieve success in a particular business. However, in order to turn to such people for help, you need to understand the need for this. If a person does not understand this, he will think that he himself knows everything and does not need to know anything else at all. So which way don't come? Knowledge is more important than money. But knowledge is different from knowledge. Knowledge should be exactly that which best meets human needs at the present time. This is the idea I have been catching up with for more than 30 years, although I have heard about it many times. For example, if you need to learn to communicate competently with other people in order to benefit from this communication and solve your current problems and problems with its help, and at this moment you are taught chemistry and physics in the same school, then you can safely say that the knowledge you are gaining you don't need it at the moment. They are not relevant to you. They are useful, but optional. And by receiving them, you spend your time, which you could spend on obtaining more important knowledge for you. Do you catch the thought? A person must be able to satisfy his urgent needs first of all, solve problems and tasks that are relevant to him, and not study what he does not currently need and may never need in his life. How much time and money do some people spend getting an education they don't need? That's it. Therefore, when investing your money in knowledge, you need to understand what kind of knowledge you currently need and for what. Life is too short to spend it studying everything. You need to choose the most important things for yourself. Moreover, this important thing should be important right now, and not sometime later. What to do if you don't have money, but at the same time you want to invest it in knowledge? I was once in exactly this situation. I have grown to understand that knowledge is very important in this life and money should not be spared on it. But at the same time, I did not have enough funds to consume high quality and, let's say, selected knowledge that saves a lot of time when studying certain things. Well, what can I tell you here? For this important purpose money must be obtained in any available and acceptable way. For example, a person can go unload the cars, get little money for it and then purchase the necessary knowledge with them, which will help him in the future earn the next batch of money in a smarter way, so that he does not have to unload the cars again. Then he can further complicate his skills, increase his competence and at the same time the cost of his work, thanks to new knowledge, and so on. As a result, by investing money in knowledge, a person can eventually come to a state where he will earn a lot of money only because he knows what many other people do not know and cannot do. All this can be done gradually, buying high-quality knowledge in the quantity in which you can afford it. There are also people who manage to earn money for studying at a very good university or for studying with some specialist teacher who provides high-quality paid education. In a word, a person who knows the value of knowledge will always find money with it, which can be earned in many ways. Knowledge is a ladder that leads a person to a high-quality, free, rich and happy life. It was like this and it will always be like this. Only, I repeat, knowledge must be of high quality and relevant, that is, one that helps a person satisfy his current needs and solve the tasks and problems facing him. Otherwise, you can fill your head with all sorts of shit, and also for your own money, and in the end you will not get anything from the knowledge you gain. This, in particular, happens to some people who have academic knowledge, thanks to their erudition, but cannot solve even the most basic everyday issues, for example, finding a partner or earning money for an apartment. Perhaps some of you will have a question. Why pay money for knowledge if there is plenty of it all around for free? Just take it and use it. The internet alone is worth it. There is a lot of all kinds of knowledge, an ocean of information on any topic. Such questions, as a rule, arise from people who do not know how to work with information and do not understand that high-quality knowledge needs to be selected and constantly updated so that it meets modern requirements. Therefore, to say that there is a lot of information around that can be used for free is the same as saying why the hell should I buy, well, let's say, the same mushrooms in a store, if I can go to the forest and pick them there. Do you have time for this? This is the first point. The second point concerns the quality of knowledge. How to separate high-quality knowledge from low-quality knowledge, true from false, useful from harmful, relevant from junk. To do this, you need to be able to work with information, which not every person knows how to do. Most people, unable to evaluate, analyze, verify and use information, usually rely on the authority of the source of this very information when selecting it. But if it all came down to the authority of sources of information and knowledge, we would read only articles and books by Nobel laureates and other great people and learn only from them. But we don't do that. Why? But because, firstly, no one, even the smartest person in the world, knows everything, and secondly, information from authoritative sources is known to most people, so many use it, thereby devaluing it. On a number of issues, knowledge that everyone has is useless. They become instantly obsolete because they no longer provide the exceptional advantage that some people have power over other people. For example, if everyone knows where they can get a lot of money on favorable terms, then everyone will break into this place and steal everything. Or, if everyone knows where it is profitable to buy some valuable product, then everyone will run to buy it and thereby increase the price for it or make this product scarce. I think you understand the meaning. Therefore, the authority of the source of information often not only does not confirm its high quality, but, conversely, makes it useless. Knowledge is more systematic and structured information, tested by experience. Therefore, quality knowledge cannot and should not be available to everyone. They either must be secret or must be constantly updated so that the person who owns them has an advantage over other people. So now think about whether free and accessible knowledge can be of great value, in addition to the fact that it will take a lot of time and effort to collect, analyze and verify it. Therefore, smart people who want to quickly get the cream of knowledge from any field buy it. In this way, they save their time and get what not everyone owns, but only some and what is relevant at the moment. Some people ask me how my information product, Sales Information Block 1.0, version current at the time of writing this article, differs from other products on the topic of sales, including free ones. Like, why should we buy it from you if we can find such knowledge online for free? I explain that yes, there is an alternative to my information block, like any other information product. This is an alternative in the form of hundreds of sales books that need to be carefully studied, as I did. Then weed out everything unnecessary and highlight the most important, most valuable, most effective, which is confirmed by the practice of successful sales. Then you need to check this best in various real sales, refine some points to increase the effectiveness of this information. Everything unnecessary must be thrown out of it. Then check again and make sure that this information really teaches you how to sell. Then it needs to be competently structured, thus creating a system of knowledge from it and presented in an accessible form, so that not only a sales specialist, but also any person who is not familiar with this matter at all, can understand this knowledge and apply it. So think about how easy it is to do this yourself, working with free sources of information. But you still need to update this knowledge, based both on your experience in sales and on the experience of those people who purchased this product and began to use it, since everyone has different experience and you need to look at who succeeds and who doesn't. So if everything were so simple with knowledge, everyone would have been gurus in various fields long ago. But in reality, there is a lot of knowledge in the public domain, but there are only a few smart people and good specialists, including in sales. So, try separating the wheat from the chaff, in this ocean of information, and see how difficult it is to do. Or maybe easy for you if you are a genius. Now as for money, their value seems to be obvious to everyone. Money is the most liquid commodity. They can always be exchanged for many other goods and services. But, without the necessary knowledge, money can not only be useless, but even harmful to a person. It's one thing when a person spends his money on all sorts of nonsense, say, on idiotic entertainment, full-wall TVs, clothes, telephones and similar unnecessary things. Here we are often talking about a senseless waste of money, which does not make a person smarter, healthier, or better. But it's a completely different matter when a person, having enough money for a good life, begins to take drugs, abuse alcohol, entertain himself in other unsafe ways and generally lead a reckless lifestyle. In this case, he harms himself with the help of money. And what kind of value of money can we talk about in this case? Without the necessary knowledge, without understanding some things important for life, a person cannot become truly happy. You need to be able to manage money. Imagine a person, for example, some kid, who believes that he can get rich playing in the same casino. That is, the boy is not smart, naive, infantile. Give this kid, well, let's say, $1 million, just give him it or let him win the money. And what will happen? Will he turn into another rich man of the level of Gates, Buffett, or Durov? Will he be able to manage his money wisely? Will he be able to increase it? Nothing like that. The boy will immediately rush into all sorts of troubles, wanting to enjoy his money to the fullest. And it's good if he manages to shit them all before he harms himself, for example, with the same drug. Or some smart guys and beautiful and cunning aunts will extract this money from him in different ways, just as they extracted it from the gullible Pinocchio in the famous fairy tale. And all why? Because there is money, but no intelligence. There are so many examples when people suddenly find a lot of money and don't really know what to do with it. And in the end they waste them mediocrely. And they often harm themselves with this money. Or let's take an example with the children of rich parents who are mad with fat, staging street races, dabbling in drugs and God knows what else they are doing. These brats have money, thanks to their parents, but they have no intelligence. Therefore, they can mess up such a lot that their parents will then have to solve various problems that cannot always be solved even with the help of very large amounts of money. Thus, only relevant, high-quality knowledge can help a person manage his money competently and usefully, regardless of how much he has. And therefore, it is natural that most often it is smart people who come to big money, who, as they say, have grown to this money wisely. Although, of course, there are other examples. Be that as it may, knowledge can be valuable without money, but money without knowledge is not. No matter how much money you give to a fool, he will not become smarter from it. But a large amount of knowledge, the necessary knowledge, can easily lead a person to big money. Knowledge and money will always compete with each other for the hearts and minds of most people. The majority will be drawn to money, the minority to knowledge, and then the majority will serve a more literate minority. But this is if we talk about people in general. And if we talk about each person individually, then he is always free to make the choice that he deems necessary and correct for himself. If knowledge is more important to you, you will strive primarily for it and will invest your money and time in it. If money is more important to you, you will do everything for it, and it is possible that you will save on knowledge as a value that is less important to you. Well, you will have the appropriate life. True, some people, due to their development, do not see a connection between what choices they make and what they have. There are individuals who are even proud that they don't know much and don't want to know anything. They would rather make money with their hump day and night until it cracks, but they will not allow their heads to be desecrated with some kind of knowledge. I can tell you with full responsibility that by investing money in knowledge, a person always wins. You see, always. I experienced this firsthand. Unlike many other types of investments, knowledge is not wasted. It somehow benefits a person, even when it becomes outdated. Everything, absolutely everything, depends on them in our lives. Knowledge empowers a person, and he not only sees many more ways to make money, compared to those who know less, but also understands how these ways can be realized. That is why smart people, no matter how much they already know, never spare money or time to gain new knowledge. Nowadays, this is especially important. Indeed, with the abundance of information that we have, it is extremely important to pay money for the most, so to speak, selected knowledge that was allocated from all this abundance. Want to be successful, rich, respected people? Invest everything you can in knowledge. Don't be content with just free knowledge, you won't get far with it. I myself read a lot of free books, watch various lectures, seminars, listen to audiobooks. They are all useful, I get a lot from them. But paid knowledge often gives a good impetus, because it is selected, tested, modified and generally of higher quality. And this is not surprising. After all, many free knowledge is often raw or outdated knowledge. And paid knowledge is prepared knowledge that is better absorbed and ideal for our time. They most often come from the front line and therefore are as adequate as possible to today's reality. So don't spare money on them. And remember, the more you know, the more confident you will feel in this world of money.